Joining us now is David Bereit, founder of 40 Days for Life and now president of Bereit Inc., a consulting firm to help faith-based and pro-life nonprofit organizations. David is here to break down how things stand 2 years since the Dobbs decision. Welcome to the show, David. It's been 2 years since the Supreme Court's Dobbs versus Jackson decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. What does this post-Roe landscape look like across America?
Yeah, well, first of all, Monse, thank you so much for having me on here. I think it's important to reflect what actually did and did not happen through the Supreme Court Dobbs decision 2 years ago, because the Supreme Court did not ban abortion or restrict it. They simply said there's no constitutional right to abortion, and so they sent the decision back to you and me, the American people, through our elected officials in the states and in Congress. And so now we have these 50 different state-by-state battles. We have some states that have enacted abortion protections for women and their children or major limitations on the practice, but you have other states that have loosened those protections. They've expanded abortions. They've become so-called abortion sanctuaries or tourist destinations. And some states have had little policy change, but we're still seeing nationwide shifting of lots of trends. People are flooding across state lines to have abortions. Abortion pills are being mailed across the country and from overseas. We see increased polarization and division as we have intensified this cultural and political divide since the Dobbs decision. There's increased activism and advocacy on both sides of the issue, and we've seen ongoing legal battles, more issues at the U.S. Supreme Court, and ongoing public debates. It is truly a tumultuous time for the pro-life movement.
It is, and it's very busy, and we're finally having this conversation around what is the impact of legalized abortion and legalized killing of children in the womb. And that reality is one that we'd never actually had to grapple with as a country. You've traveled to 37 states since the Dobbs decision. You've gotten a good slice of how things are for the American public. How have things improved in some states or worsened in others?
Yeah, it's a great question. States that I've traveled to where things have gotten better, states like Texas and Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, those are states that have put in place strong protections for women and children. There have been enhanced support services and networks of help for pregnant women and their children and families. We've seen the increases in community and church engagement and pro-life activities. But there are other states that things have gotten notably worse, like California and Massachusetts, New Mexico, New York, where there have been expansions of abortion, a loosening of protections, the increase in use of tax dollars not only to deliver the abortions, but to lure people from out of state to have abortions. We've seen the increase in the distribution of dangerous abortion pills, and we've seen these increases in political and legal and media and even violent vandalism attacks against pro-life groups and pregnancy centers. And then, Monse, the last thing is there are some states where it's been mixed. States like where I live here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we haven't had much change in policy, but yet we've still seen a 60% increase in abortions as people have been flooding across state borders from other states with more restrictions on abortion. So everywhere, it's a heightened public awareness, heightened advocacy on both sides for both positive and negative. And this issue is really driving not only what's happening at the Supreme Court, but national elections and our national conversation.
Well, that national conversation also is shifting around what women need, right? Not just the legality of medical abortions and funding of abortion, but what is it that women truly need to be able to make the right decision and really keep their child and give them a really wonderful life and hope for the future? What are you seeing related to help for women and the care of their children?
Yeah, absolutely. So most states are recognizing we need to help women and children more than ever. And there's research that I think instructs all of us on what we can do in this moment to help women and to help children. And it's 4 words I'm going to teach you right now. I will help you. Research has shown that between 6 out of 10 and 7 out of 10 women who had abortion say if one person had offered to help and walk with them through the time of their unexpected pregnancy, they would not have had an abortion. So we need to be willing to say that, and then we need to be willing to carry it out through our local pregnancy help centers and maternity homes. And we're seeing a dramatic escalation in those efforts. They truly are not only saving lives, but helping women to be empowered, to be more successful in the workplace and in the world, and to be better mothers. I'm so hopeful for what we're doing to help women and children now who are in need more than ever.
I agree. That's the place where you've got a lot of hope and a lot of energy. Well, the pro-life movement has lost all 7 statewide elections on abortion since the Dobbs decision, with 10 or 11 potential state abortion ballot measures looming in 2024. What can we do to turn this tide?
Well, first of all, we have to recognize that these are daunting challenges and they're critical that we need to be engaged in. I think there are three things that we can focus on. Number one is grassroots mobilization. We need to be willing to engage. We need to build. We need to strengthen pro-life networks and increase involvement across all of our faith circles, family circles, community circles, and we need to educate and raise awareness about abortion everywhere we go. That's number one. Number two, we need to be more strategic in our messaging. We need to not just say what makes us feel good, but we need to find out what actually changes hearts and minds, and then deliver compelling, fact-based messages that resonate with diverse audiences, and also bring stories and testimonies to the forefront to humanize the issue. Third, and one that's near and dear to my heart, is coalition building. We need to be willing to form alliances. No single organization is responsible for any major social problem, nor can any single organization or leader or person solve it. We need to work collectively and collaboratively. If we do those things, we can make traction, we have chances of making progress and even potentially winning some of these state ballot initiatives, but we've got to work hard starting right now.
That's very true and a great call to action. We started our conversation talking about the Supreme Court's decision 2 years ago, but the Supreme Court has oddly been also very engaged in some of the dismissals, some of the refusals to weigh in on mifepristone and the abortion pill, and now also the EMTALA case, which is about emergency abortions, abortions in the emergency room and the federal funding of abortions through EMTALA, which is this federal law. So what are we seeing here? What kind of signals is this giving us about whether the Supreme Court is going to give very specific instructions to states, or they want this conversation to continue to percolate at the lower levels?
Yeah. That's an excellent question, Monsi, and I think we have to continue to watch what's happening, learn from it, read these decisions, and understand what's driving them. But the bottom line is it's illustrating how complex and divided we are as a people and in our legislation and also through legal interpretation. So the court is trying to decide what is in the purview of the states, what is a federal issue, what is based on legal standing versus what is something that we need to send back to the state level. It demonstrates how complex this issue is, but what it's doing, it's raising the awareness for all of us. And I believe it's a clarion call for each of us to say, okay, God, what can I do? How can I make a life-saving difference? We can't directly control the U.S. Supreme Court. We can watch what they're doing. We can shape our state and local elections and even our federal elections. But what's most important, if we want to save lives and end abortion, it's what we do today, tomorrow, and next week, helping women, helping children, and advocating on behalf of the sanctity of human life.
The choices we make. Well, it's so wonderful to talk to you, David. It's so great to see that you're doing so much to continue to save lives.
Thank you so much.